Hey there, Walt here from WaltInPA, and today I want to talk about the most memorable ride of 2024. Today is, well, we're just a couple of days away from New Year's. By the time this publishes, it will be 2025, and that's generally a good time of year to look back and be nostalgic about your accomplishments from the year prior. So, before I tell you about mine, I'd like to pose the question to you. What was your most memorable ride of 2024? Head on down to the comment section and tell me about it. Or record a video and share it with me. So as far as my riding goes, it's kind of sad. I really don't have a super memorable ride because there just weren't very many memorable rides in 2024. It was a chaotic year. I didn't get nearly as many miles in as I would have liked, and trips were kind of sporadic. You know, I went into the year really hopeful that me and the guys from Discord were going to get together a whole bunch of times and we were going to make it a regular occurrence, but it just didn't shake out the way I had hoped. And those rides were kind of few and far between, and any of the riding I did solo was short stuff. You know, it was around town. It was just an opportunity to break away and just take a short trip around town, just tackle those local roads. You know, I really didn't get out and see anything new. That's actually, thinking about it, that's the saddest part of all this, is that I didn't see a single new covered bridge last year or see a single new historical site. It was a pretty vanilla, boring year, to be honest. You know, the only saving grace in there was I was able to get out for a couple of group rides with the guys, mainly Pat from Discord, Oldsman from Discord, TrekkieMoto on YouTube, Goofy Bastard on YouTube, and a couple of other people here and there. And that was probably the highlight of my riding season, were some of those rides. One of the more recent and more memorable rides happened a few months ago. In fact, I've been trading messages back and forth with Pat for months. You know, we kept saying, oh, you know, we're the two cigar guys in the group. We should get together, do a group ride out to a cigar shop sometime. And, you know, we've been saying that for, you know, a year or two. And finally I said, well, let's make it happen. Let's get together and we'll meet up and take a ride out to Cigars International in Hamburg. It is kind of like a destination spot for cigar enthusiasts. It's a massive store, and they've got lots of seating, and at times they do live music and a bunch of other stuff. There's a bar inside. It's a pretty busy place and a pretty cool place. It's a nice place to sit down, have a cigar, a cup of coffee, your choice of beverage, you know, whatever you're into. And so Pat and I made the call. We were gonna do this on like a Saturday or something, and I said, you know, no one else is into cigars, but I just want to throw it out there, invite anyone else that might want to come along. And he said, yeah, sure, that sounds good. So I put it out there in Discord, and TrekkieMoto kind of stepped up to the plate and said, I'll go. I don't know that I think he just wanted to get out and enjoy the ride and just hang out with some friends. But I think he may have been a little, I guess the best word for it is like confused, not really knowing what to expect, you know, going to a cigar shop with a couple of guys. I know that when, you know, before I got into it and, you know, and went to cigar shops, I would conjure up images of, I don't know, old men marinating in a smoke-filled room. You know, it doesn't seem very much, very enjoyable. So, you know, I imagine that he would probably think very much the same thing, but, you know, we tried to tell him, like, no, it'll be nice, plenty of filtration there, smoke won't be a problem, we can even sit outside. And he seemed down for it. It was great. Because of everyone's schedule, we wound up having lunch first. So we got together, we we took the long way out to Hamburg, maybe an hour and a half to get there, and then we stopped at this place for lunch. I mean, I can't think of the name of it. It's a place I had never been before, and I was really impressed. The burgers were good, atmosphere was good. They had a whole bunch of motorcycle parking out in the parking lot. That's not something I see very often, so you know, it's always kind of pleasant to see a motorcycle friendly establishment. We went in, we had lunch, everyone had a good laugh, good time. It was me, TrekkieMoto, Pat, and Pat's son came along. Great ride, great conversation. And then it came time to go over to Cigars International, and that's when Trekkie decided to peel off. And again, don't blame him. Probably didn't know what to expect. But Pat and I wound up going. Pat and I went over to Cigars International in Hamburg, and it was like the strangest thing. We ended up bumping into a couple of people that I knew. The first was my sister. I hadn't seen her in a couple of months, and of all the places to bump into her, was at a cigar shop. Seemed wildly small odds. Turns out her husband was interested in checking out a pipe, and that's why they were there. So, you know, it was nice to see them. And then we get up we grab our cigars, we go out onto the balcony, and there's a group, there's a motorcycle club kind of congregating in the corner, and you know, a half decent sized group. There might have been maybe half dozen of them. We parked sort of near their cluster of bikes out front, and just out of the blue, one of them walks over to me and says, "Hey, I know you." And it turns out it was a friend of a friend. I don't know him all that well, and I didn't know he was in a motorcycle club, so it was just cool to see him. And you know, we spent a couple of minutes talking, and it was just I don't know, it kind of made me feel like a big shot bumping into a couple of people I knew. It made me look far more popular than I am. So from there, we decided to make our way home. We were going to go our separate ways, but we were both heading in the same general direction, and we got to a road closed sign, which neither of us were expecting. I started messing with. We pulled over, said our goodbyes. Him and his son, Pat and his son, went down the road, and I was fiddling around with my phone trying to get GPS coordinates home. And because I was in the middle of nowhere and wasn't really getting any cell service, so I just decided to wing it. I talked to him later on. Turns out both of us got wildly lost, you know, on these back twisty roads. And I don't know, it was a good 30-40 minutes before we found our way out to somewhere we knew. I was laughing. I said, I don't know how we didn't like cross paths. I crisscrossed on those roads so many times. Like, I don't know how we didn't somehow cross at an intersection. But that was probably my most memorable ride of 2024. It was a lot of fun. It was one of the more recent rides. It's probably why it stands out in my mind as much as it does. But it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. And going into 2025, I know I say this every year, but I really want to get together for more group rides. It is a lot of fun, and it is something I sorely miss over the winter time. We had actually talked about getting together for breakfast throughout the winter, you know, maybe once a month or so, and you know, just driving to some place kind of middle destination just to get together and have fun. And kind of looking forward to that too. I'd much rather ride the motorcycles, but you know, if it's 6 degrees in Pennsylvania in February and there's snow forecast, there's not going to be much motorcycle riding being done. So the being in the car is acceptable at that point. Well, folks, that's going to do it for this one. Head on down to the comments and tell me about your most memorable ride of 2024. I'd love to hear about it. Thanks for watching, ride safe, and I will catch you in the next one.